It's time to cook with the quarantine chef.
Hi guys, the next course, potato roses. Alright, so time to prepare the second course. And I'm going to start by slicing these potatoes using the long side. I think it's called like a mandolin or something like that. I'm always afraid for my knuckles, like just now. Actually, I'm just going to use a knife to cut these. Alright, so I'm just going to use a knife to cut these thinly. Slice them thin enough. Alright, that should be enough. Drop those in my pot. I have to buy some mixing bowls because I only have one large one. And I'm using that for something else. So, using the next best thing, a pot. I'm using two different types of potatoes. Really just because that's what I have. I have enough to do all of the, what are these? I think Idaho potatoes. Actually, I don't know. I'm using these. One is much whiter than the other. This one is more yellow, so, and this one seems to be a little bit softer. And I just like to compare how the different potatoes cook. I like all potatoes. All right, so here are my sliced potatoes. You can see the colors a little bit better now. How this one is white, this one is yellow. But it's time to season. I'm going to pour some olive oil over this, and I'm going to add some garlic powder, some thyme, some rosemary, which always gets stuck in my teeth, some salt, and some pepper. And I'm going to mix this until well combined. Alright, so now for the fancy part. I am going to take 2 strips of bacon, lay the first one down, then the second one about halfway the length of it. My board isn't long enough. You know, let me wash my counter so I can just use the counter and have more space. Alright, so I've washed the counter, and so I'm going to take this bacon, lay one down, and the other, I'll start about halfway and finish stretching it out. And then I'm going to take my potatoes and lay across the bacon like this. And some of these pieces are much thicker than the others, so I hope it folds as it should. Alright, and now I am going to roll this up. Uh-oh, these are going to be some thick roses. Actually, that's way too thick. That's the look I'm going for, but it's too thick. So instead of using 2 pieces of bacon, I'm just going to use 1 for each rose. So let's do that. And am I supposed to overlap them? I think I am. Let's try it again. I think my potatoes are too thick. It's not working out, guys. Let's use less potatoes. And let me try not overlapping them. Let's see. All right, so that's working. Yeah. But it doesn't give the rose look. I'm gonna try one more time. And then I'm gonna just go with however it comes out, I think. So we're just gonna go with it. What happened, my potatoes definitely aren't thin enough. So I was able to get 4 of them, and they look decent in the pan. So now it's time to put these in the oven. All right, so these have cooked for a total of 50 minutes. I'm gonna sprinkle some Parmesan on top and put them back in the oven for a final 10 minutes. Now it's time to make the honey glazed salmon. All right, so now it's time to get the marinade ready. And I'll start. I was gonna use fresh garlic, but I'm just gonna use this. I like it. So let's start by cutting the peppers. So I just saw on TikTok, and I didn't watch this. So let me watch this, then I'll tell you my TikTok story. So I just saw on TikTok another way. Let's see. I just saw on TikTok another way to cut a pepper, and the way you do that, you see how the pepper has the little lines? You cut down on each line. And the pepper they had 4, and I forgot what that means. It's like male, female. But then you just cut, or I'm able to just pop it off, really. Pop off those sections, and you don't even get the seeds. Well, some, but not a lot. In the center, you just toss it. Neat. So there's my pepper. Put that in the trash. Now I'm just going to cut some of this up, and I won't need all of it for the marinade, so I'll just cut one of these sides, and I need my other knife. Alright, so that's chopped. I'm going to toss this in my little jar. And the next thing, I have to grate this ginger, so I'll start by peeling the skin, or cutting the skin. Peeling, cutting. Can you peel with a knife, or do you always cut with a knife? I don't know. Alright, so now that I have that outer layer off, I'm going to grate this. Something else I saw on TikTok. Instead of holding it like this, put it over the bowl you want and do it this way. And it goes right in. Alright, this was as low as I could get without shredding my fingers. So I'll do as much as I can of this second little thumb. After this, I have to buy mixing bowls, and I also need to invest in some gloves, because I'm sure one, I know if I learn how to cut properly, which I've been trying to practice, but I just haven't gotten the hang of it. But I'm sure there are some cut my hand gloves out there somewhere. So I need to get some of those in addition to some mixing bowls. Which I will. Alright, so there's the garlic. Alright, now, that wasn't garlic, that was ginger. I'm going to mix in some olive oil, honey, and I need a spoon so I can put in some garlic. I'm going to add some more honey. I'm going to add in some soy sauce. Put the top on my jar and give this a shake. And let's give it a taste to see. Oh, it's really, really, really salty. I guess because of all the soy sauce. So let's add some more honey. And I'll make sure not to put any salt on the, well, the meat is going in there, so I won't have to put any salt on it. And even if it calls for it later, I won't, because the soy sauce has this really salty. I forgot to get the low sodium. That's what it is. That's a little bit better, but it's still really salty. I think I'm actually going to add some water in here. So I added some water. And that's a little bit better. I'm going to put it, I have to put it in another jar and add more water, and I think it'll be perfect. Much better. So now I'm going to put this in a bag and put the fish in there with, actually first, I was supposed to get skinless fish, but I didn't read that until afterwards. So I'm going to see if I can cut this skin off. So I started off really well, then I got lazy and started cutting the meat, but it's good enough. So let me wash my hands, get a bag to put this in, and put the marinade in with it. And the recipe calls for me to save some of the marinade. So I'm going to put a little bit more just so all of the fish is covered. And then I'll save the rest. And I'm going to sit this in the refrigerator until the potatoes are done. These are coming out and they smell so good. While it's hot, I'm gonna take my glove off and sit them in the warmer so that they stay hot while I cook the meat. Alright, so it's time to cook the meat. I'm gonna heat some olive oil in my non-stick pan. Let that heat up a bit and then I'll add the meat. So the oil has heated, so I'm going to take this fish, lay it down, and let it cook on one side for about 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, so now it's time to flip this, hopefully without burning myself. And I'll let it cook on this side for about 2 minutes. Alright, so the fish is finished cooking, so I am going to now, I've already taken it out. Now I'm going to pour the remaining marinade in here. Pour it on. And let this thicken up just a little. Right, so to get this a little bit thicker, I'm mixing, this is cornstarch and water. I'm going to pour that in there to thicken it up. The starch becomes a little bit different, I think. I think this is good enough. So I'm going to plate it and then I'll show you guys a picture. All right, let's taste. I'm going to go for the salmon first. Salmon. It's really good. And I'm glad I added that water because now it's not too salty. That's good. I have some of the marinade left over, so I may make another piece of this for dinner tomorrow. I'm sure the broccoli and the potato are both good. Can't really go wrong with that. So I'm going to finish eating this and I'll see you guys in the next course.